This changes everything. The Buffalo Bills have been linked to superstar wide receiver Stefon Diggs. Rumors have been circulating about whether the former Buffalo Bill will return to his old team or sign with a new one. My name is Maeve Miller, and I'm a part of the Bills Digest team, so please subscribe to the Bills Digest YouTube channel for all the latest updates during the offseason. So in his 10 years in the NFL, Diggs has been on 3 different teams, and most notably, he was on the Minnesota Vikings. He was drafted in 2015, and he had a lot of good seasons. 2018 was probably one of his best, because during that year, this is when the famous Minnesota Miracle was, which I've depicted right there, and this was, yes, in 2018, it was the NFC divisional round. They were down to the Saints, and on the last play of the game, Diggs ended up catching the ball and ran it back for a touchdown, and it was probably one of the most impressive plays I've ever seen. He managed to stay in bounds multiple times, and it was just a very emotional moment, very cool moment that solidified him as a legend in Minnesota. And he definitely, the way he's positioning, he just knows he's great, and he really did play well. But in 2020, he was traded to the Bills, and this was actually his peak year. He led the NFL in receptions with 127 and in receiving yards with 1,538. So Buffalo, he was very good on the Vikings, but I feel like in Buffalo, he really took off. They made it to the AFC Championship that year. They made it to the playoffs the last couple of years. And him and Allen really formed a bond that was really cool to see, because there was a lot of drama, and Diggs definitely gained a reputation. And it was just a different side of Diggs. I feel like we saw the BFF issue that's just so cute, and their connection off the field definitely helped on the field. When the ball was going to Diggs, you just knew, and you knew they were going to connect. And I feel like that's why Diggs had a very good percentage of catches on the Bills, and he definitely was their go-to guy. However, he was traded to the Texans in 2024, and there is a lot of speculation over that. People thought he was maybe frustrated because the Bills, I feel like they're one of the few teams that really, really spreads it out. I think especially in recent years with the loss of Diggs and Davis, Allen will throw to anyone from Ty Johnson to Dalton Kincaid to Knox to the wide receiver, Khalil Shakir. It's just not one superstar wide receiver, and I feel like that's the kind of role that Diggs wanted, and he really did have that for a while. But that's just not the kind of team that Buffalo was. So I think people thought he was frustrated with coaching the offense and over missing the play or not making it far in the playoffs the last couple of years, which is definitely frustrating, especially when it's the Chiefs for most of those years. But you could just tell his attitude was not very strong. His performance definitely did decrease as the years went on. So I felt that also added to it. So he was traded to Texans in 2024, and he definitely had a strong start with them until he tore his ACL and missed most of the 2024 season, which is definitely disappointing because it did feel like a fresh start for him. I do want to talk a little bit about some of the problems with Diggs, because as good as he is on the field, there have been some issues with him off the field. One of the most notable times was just, you could see his frustrations a lot, and you could kind of tell that that's where he got his reputation from, because I feel like in his beginning years with the Bills, he kind of kept that contained, but in 2023, you definitely saw that come out. So this was in 2022, after they lost to the Bengals in the divisional round, 27-10, he just kind of went up to Allen on the sidelines and just started yelling, come on, man, just trying to get, I think, him fired up, because that was a tough loss, and I think the Bills were not expecting to lose by that much. But when it's that public, I felt that does draw a lot of negative attention, and Allen just wasn't really giving him the time of day in that moment. But it was hard to watch, for sure. And then in 2023, he missed minicamp over the summer, and McDermott even was confused and said he was concerned. So I feel like little things like that, you can't, a player can't be doing that. You're getting paid millions and millions of dollars a year to show up to camp, to practice. It's not that big of a thing. So I feel like people just thought he was kind of a drama queen. And Bills fans definitely don't love him. I think that's kind of been the reaction I've been seeing on Twitter lately. This says, if you're a Bills fan and want 31-year-old Stefon Diggs coming off an ACL injury back on our team after he forced himself out of the locker room and talked about our quarterback, you are quite literally insane. So that is very interesting, and I do get what they're saying, definitely when it comes to his age and the injury, because that is tough to come back from for anybody. But as you get into your 30s, it's definitely hard to come back, and people are just saying that his prime era is over. He played so well with the Vikings and the Bills. He continued that on, and performance has definitely been down the last couple of years. And I just think there's also worry about locker room issues because the team chemistry now is very strong. You can tell like they're all just in the media, the Bills players are just like hyping each other up and talking about how much they like love each other. So I just think throwing a player like Diggs into the mix of all that could mess things up when it comes to that. And Allen, you can tell, is very happy with his life, like getting engaged. And I just, as much as I love Diggs and I think he is a good player, I kind of agree with this person because the way he conducted himself on the media also wasn't great. Like him and his brother, Trayvon Diggs, would make like little comments about Allen and about what they think like he deserved, like Diggs. So I don't know. I think that is interesting, but he definitely like had a very heartfelt message to Buffalo after he left, which I do appreciate. He just said like how much he wanted to thank the city of Buffalo and Bills Mafia, and was just like cherishing his time there, which was nice to see, obviously. And Bills fans really did take him in. We are very serious like about our players. We love them all. And even though there was a lot of drama in Minnesota, it was kind of nice that that drama didn't follow as much and Bills fans still liked him. But obviously, once you talk badly about Josh Allen, it's hard to come back for that. So I think Bills fans would kind of struggle with that idea. Even though we haven't made it to the Super Bowl yet, this could, like, some people are saying it could get them over the hump. They could make it now with Diggs. But we already had Diggs and we didn't. So I think that'll definitely be interesting to see. Lastly, I want to talk about where Diggs stands with the Bills right now. There are a lot of different options of what he can go to. It's not just the Bills. People were saying like the Patriots, the Chargers, the Raiders are all in talks. And I think his relationship with the Bills and Bills players is definitely better than it was after the initial trade. He had a quote, this was before they were going to play the Texans. He said, when I got to Buffalo, Josh is still my guy. People don't really understand what it's like to be out there. He really embraced me. I probably wouldn't be here right if it wasn't for him. I got a lot of love for that boy. And I feel like this picture also just really sums it up. And that was after a very tough win. And you can just see like the relief and the way he's hugging Diggs was just like very nice to see. And I do appreciate that quote from Diggs because he wasn't really saying that in the media earlier. But sometimes it takes a couple of years. Their pride is wounded after being traded. So that was good to hear. And then last season, the Bills played the Texans, and that was a very anticipated matchup. We had this picture, this little meetup, and this definitely like went viral. Diggs giving kind of the side eye, but it was kind of sad because, as I showed at the BFFs issue earlier, picture they were so close, and to have that closest go to this, just like a hug after a game and like a weird interaction, like wasn't ideal. And that game was interesting because the Bills actually lost to the Texans 23-20, and I believe they were supposed to win that, but the Texans were off to a very strong start. They were 6-2 at the start of the season, and then Diggs got injured, then it went downhill. But that was definitely kind of a weird game, and I'm sure Allen had wanted it to win. But right now, like I do think that things are better still. There was a moment when they were talking. Diggs was asked about the MVP race and just had like very nice things to say about that. He said he definitely should win. Allen is amazing. It's not new to me. And on Twitter, someone asked him like what he thinks about Allen. He was like, yeah, like he deserves to win. Like he's been balling, which was like, that was just good because he knows what Josh can do and is very impressed with him like most other players. And I feel like, in 2024 or 2023, Diggs wouldn't have been saying that. Like he was a little more negative about his time with the Bills and wasn't really being as positive, whereas Allen was kind of defending Diggs still throughout this time and being like, yeah, like Diggs is emotional, like that going in. So we'll definitely see how that goes, but I'm just glad the relationship has gotten better. And this was also interesting that has a lot of Bills fans talking, the fact that Diggs put up all his photos of the Bills back. You can see one down there with Knox and then a solo one. But that definitely does raise the question about whether he will return. A lot of people are saying like, oh, he's just doing it to mess with fans, then he's going to go join the Patriots, which I would hate if he joined the Patriots. That would be like my least case scenario. But there was a lot of rumors about also the Raiders because there was videos of him training with Raiders quarterback Geno Smith. And Diggs actually looked very strong. He was only 4 months off of his recovery from ACL surgery, and he did look very strong, which was nice to see if the Bills do end up getting him. I just don't know. I honestly don't know what the Bills are going to do. We do have a wide receiver. Like, we just extended Khalil Shakir's contract, and we're not necessarily in need of a wide receiver compared to other players. We just signed Josh Palmer as well. And his $22.5 million contract is up, and he will be a free agent for a team. I just personally don't know if Bills is the right team for him. There's just been so many issues, and I just feel like the way the Bills are playing this year, they're not, or last year, they weren't worried about having a superstar diva on the field, and Allen wasn't worried about having to pass a certain amount of times or like get emotional outbursts from Diggs. So as much as I think he's a very strong player, and I'm glad to see he's not injured anymore, I don't want him to go to the Patriots either, but I just don't know if the Bills are the right fit. But I'll definitely be like looking into this over the next couple of weeks because it'll definitely be exciting. And if the Bills do end up signing him, I think I'll be excited, and maybe this will be the hump that will get them to the Super Bowl. So yeah, we'll definitely be watching that in the next couple of weeks. Go Bills! Thanks for watching.